Super happy to be here with you on the program Flip Side with yours sincerely, Oluije Oikoha. Yes, I know you'll be wondering, oh, this space again. Yeah, it's all about, multitasking and doing our job as a journalist. All right, today on the program Flip Side, we will be looking at International Day of Sports Development and Peace. Yes, this is one day the United Nations has set aside to celebrate sports in general, to celebrate the reason why sport is brought into the world in general, that is sport. And to do that for us today, discussing and giving us more information, educating us as far as sports and development and how peace is being embedded into sporting activities and all of it. Yes, we got the person of Destiny Iwobo. He is a statistician. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
And also we have Solomon. I know he is a sports analyst. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, now we know as Nigerians, yes, for some persons they know the definition, the meaning of sports. While some others, when you say, oh, sports, their mind goes fast and quickly to football. Now we want to ask, as a sports analyst, we want to know, what is sports?
Thank you very much. If I'm to define sport, I would say sport is a recreational activity that people get themselves involved in for the sake of or for fitness and for pleasure or for relaxation, a way to take your mind off the normal activities in the society. So sport is a very integral part of society.
Okay, now when we say sports, is it just football?
I think sports cut across all aspects of life. There are some sports that involves close contact and some that don't. The likes of football, basketball, those are close contact sports. We have lawn tennis, we have badminton, we have volleyball. Those sports, they are not close contact, but you have people on different sides playing the game or participating in that particular sporting activity. So it's just to promote peace. There's this joy, this euphoria in the air. Whenever you see people participating in sporting activities, people are always happy.
Okay. Now, this question goes to you now. What is sport development?
I'm going to place sport development on how it helps the society.
I understand that they haven't been able to play for qualification for Qatar 2022. Now, if these two teams comes together as looking at the International Day, which is International Day for Sports Development and Peace, do you feel these two teams can actually come together as a result of the ongoing issue in both countries?
Well, in sports, that is one of the major peace that they preach.
Yeah.
If there's a match between Russia and any other country, even if it's Ukraine, they will still come together. They will have this level playing ground. They'll have this atmosphere that, okay, I understand what's going on at this particular moment. We all understand, but we are trying to proffer peace in this particular situation. We've had incidences all over Europe recently when football matches are going on and players from Ukraine, they actually give them the captain band to lead the team on and every other person behind the player. Once such players score a goal, we have different examples all over Europe. They celebrate with this player. You see some of them bringing out flags saying, okay, we want peace. This war, we don't want it. This is a way, or this is a tool that is in sports that you can rarely find anywhere without this level of understanding where people just want to okay, this is what they're trying to preach. They're trying to preach peace. Let's listen to them. Let's watch them. Because you have thousands of people come to the stadium, come to different sports to watch, and you keep seeing people preach peace. So I think sports have always been a very good tool to preach peace. Okay.
All right, so let's look at the theme of this year's International Day. It's securing a sustainable and peaceful future for all the contribution of sports. Now, I want to look at the positive role that sport has been able to bring all over the globe.
Okay, like I said, we cannot totally quantify the value of sports to the world. What we can do is to, let's give some figures, facts and figures. Nigeria has a population of about 65 million young people. Okay, and these 65 million young people, 35 million of them are unemployed. They have no jobs. Now, sports alone generates over $500 billion to the US economy. In Nigeria, sports does not contribute up to 5% of our GDP. The total budget of Nigeria is just $45 billion. And then we have a lot of people. The beauty of sports is that it is labor intensive. It is the industry that uses the highest amount of people in terms of playing the game, to spectators, sports merchandise, management, officiating. If you watch any sports game, what you see is people. You can't use machines to do sports. It's about human beings. And so imagine if we can put billions of dollars in our sports industry and engage at least 10 million Nigerian youths in sports. Then you will not see people going to internet fraud, for instance. You will not see people being used to do Boko Haram or kidnap people because they're employed. Then you will not see restiveness among our youths, people fighting and breaking people's property because they are sports people. In developed countries, right from secondary school, people are integrated into different types of sports. So that before they even get to high school, some of them are already professional champions. They are engaged. So a person, because one thing, energy is bottled up in the life of young people. It's bottled up. Now, sports is a vent, is an avenue to vent energy. Anger, hatred, pain, power, everything is inside the human potential. But sports allow people to vent it naturally. And that is why it is very good as an instrument for maintaining peace. Imagine what happened during the NSAS protest, for instance. If you see the carnage and the destruction that took place because of youthful energies, that energy is bottled up. If you notice what happened after the match the other day when we did not qualify, you see the energy they spent to destroy that thing. It tells you what youth are capable of doing. They can bring that thing down in 5 minutes. Now, if you channel that energy into engaging them in sporting activities where they can be paid, then most of them will not end up becoming criminals, for instance, or become a problem to society. So like I said, apart from just looking at it from entertainment value, there's one aspect. It's also a matter of any income. For most people in developed countries, sports is a major income earner. A major income earner. In fact, sports people are better paid than most of the professionals that we talk about. So imagine if we are talking about going to agriculture, going to manufacture and others. There's a sport that naturally uses people. You don't need to train them too much. You just need them. It's talent plus skill come together to produce value. So one, it will create massive employment and take poverty out of this economy. Now that they see Nigeria is poverty capital of the world. Two, sports is sustainable. That means it's not something, it's not an asset that will go away. It is continuously rewarding. That means the players today will retire, the next set of players will come in. It's an industry that can continue. And as long as you keep putting money and organizing the system, the sports get bigger and bigger, more facilities will come, merchandise. The full ecosystem of sports is so huge that it will gainfully employ everybody. And like I said, go and check the parts of Nigeria where we have a lot of violence and a lot of insecurity. There are places that pay less attention to sports. Check it. Just divide Nigeria into 3 zones. You see that the parts where a lot of violence takes place is those parts where sports is underrated. For instance. Okay? And so that's why I'm happy with the policy of the government of Edo State that youth and sports should be developed. They have built a lot of, about 20 mini stadiums around the state. But that part is just looking at the infrastructure part. We should look at the people element of sports. We should set up games right from basic kindergarten, extra games so that people will get into the feel of it. And before people get to 20 years, a lot of people will be employed in this industry.
They'll be used to it
already. They'll be used to it already. Somebody who, if you are a great basketballer, imagine you're a basketballer at 20 and you have a scholarship, like what they do abroad. Most of the scholarships you see abroad is connected to sports. You know,
imagine go from one level to another.
They actually have a system in the United States for their basketball.
Works.
Immediately they are graduating from high school, they draft them into different teams. So long you are good, they draft them into different teams. And those that couldn't make it into those teams, they draft them into lower divisions. So all of them, they are employed. Let's put it that way, they are all employed. They are playing for teams that are in the NBA. And at the end of the day, you see people come out to watch it. Not just NBA, NFL is almost the same thing. That is their American football. You see people come out in large numbers to just come and watch this sport. And it's not just for it's for the relaxation for the people watching. But at the same time, is to like take all those people off the street, make them channel their energy. If you look at the NFL, it's actually a little bit strength intensive. You see people want to put in their 100%. Now, carry that strength out of sport. Some of them, they will use that strength for something not good. And if you look at Africa, actually, the setting of sport in Africa is not well organized because from grassroots level, from childhood, from school level, when you come to foreign countries, they take it up from there. They don't wait till, okay, when it's big enough. And parents also at a particular time, they're like, don't go and play football if you break your leg. Because there's no, in a way they are right, because there's no system to even take care of those kids. So they are scared. But when you see foreign countries, for instance, I'll use England. For instance, in England, you see most of their players now in the year 2022, Chelsea, for instance, they have a group of players that have been in Chelsea since 6 years. Since when they were 6. They all went to school. They still practice football at the highest level. And right now, they are playing the best of football. You understand? So time to time, these people, they groom generation up. So that these people, there won't be a tool in the society that will start doing bad things. They will focus on sport and channel their energy, like you said. They will channel their energy in the right direction.
Okay. Now, as a sports analyst, I want to, because we know you talked about England and the foreign countries. Now, we know outside Nigeria, when you talk about sports, they love sporting activities. You see them get their children, their friends. Oh, let's go watch this match.
Exactly.
Let's go see what the basketballers they have for us today. Let's go to the swimming court and everything. Now, when you come down to Nigeria, you don't see this such things happening. Now, take for instance the one that happened at MKO Abiola Stadium. Now, we got to know that that very day, walking activities ended midday at 12. Now, just for the sake of getting people to go to the stadium to go watch our darling team play Ghana. Now, I want to ask, why don't we have this culture of relaxation, this culture of watching sports, that not just football alone, but every other thing as far as sporting activities is concerned? No, let's start from Solomon.
Well, I believe you said it all. You said a culture. It's a culture that is in we Africans. I'm not going to limit it only to Nigeria.
Okay.
It's a general thing in Africa. We have this culture of, okay, let's just walk.
Walk.
Play. Sometimes you just need to relax. You see a white man, I will keep making reference to them. You see a white man after a day's job. Most times they arrange or they fix those matches at periods that people are done with work. They don't allow it to interfere with work. You see people take out their time, go with their kids, their grandma, older people. They go to watch football, go to watch basketball, swimming. No matter the sport, they will just be out there. But you see, we Africans, we have this culture of, let's just walk. After the walk, we don't believe in relaxing or watching TV or watching sports as a means to like calm the stress down for the day. Instead, we prefer to sleep. So if we can develop that culture, make people see sense, like what they did in Abuja, I think they made people see sense in, okay, go all out. Exactly. Go all out. Go and watch. Support the country. Support your the national team as they play against Ghana. So if they can continue to cultivate such culture in Africa, not just Nigeria, in Africa, I think the level of development in sport will actually increase. Because right now we are struggling. Africa is struggling to like keep up with sport in Africa. Okay,
now before I go to Destiny now, if you're looking at your screen right now, you will certainly see what happened in Abuja. Now, I want to ask, as a result of you go to the stadium, you watch your darling team play, is it enough for you to, at the end, because my team did not win, my country did not win, is it enough for you to, you know, go take laws into your hands and start destroying government properties and all? So I want to ask now, what resulted to these acts?
Well, it's uncalled for, first of all. It's not a good thing. What they did is actually very bad, especially when you see a country tried as much as possible to fix the stadium in the capital to make sure that it's up to standard. And seeing people try to like destroy it is very painful. But at the end of the day, it still boils down to the culture we're talking about. These people, they see it as, I'm guessing, I'm not saying exactly what they felt. I feel they'll see it like, I left work, left things that I'm supposed to be doing.
Important things.
Watch the match and you couldn't just qualify for the World Cup.
You couldn't just deliver.
So that energy that have been inside, they are now looking for somewhere to vent it, somewhere to like pour the anger or this outburst in them. But it's actually a very bad means to like show or express your feelings. There are many ways. I've watched match that are more painful than what happened in Nigeria. But at the end of the day, those people were just all cool. If you watch foreign football, most times, once they are not okay with the result, you see people start leaving the stadium. Everybody will be going to their house. Before you know, in less than 5 minutes, the whole thing can just change. But I just feel the culture just warrant this whole, the culture of people not putting time, giving out time to like watch sports, understand sports, warranted this whole destruction that went down in Abuja.
Okay, now starting from where we stopped initially, why don't we have this culture of, you know, I want to just go and relax, not going to one sport like we generally know, go hang out, but I want to go watch sports. I want to go watch swimming. I want to, you know, go watch badminton and the likes. So why don't we have that culture, as Solomon said, as Africans, not Nigerians solely? That's one. Then two, will you say it's our culture not to have a relaxation mood of, you know, getting into sporting activities as a result of the destruction that happened at the MKO Abiola Stadium? And also, we want to ask, from the grassroots, do you feel parents, they are involved in all of this? Like, I don't want you to go into the sporting industry. See your mates, doctor, lawyer, and the like. So I believe you should start from the first one.
Yeah, I think I beg to disagree that it is not in our culture. It's everything is in everybody's culture.
Because you tend to, when you go out of the country, you tend to go to this same stadium.
Because that's their culture. That's their system, their way.
Okay. I think we shouldn't look at it from, first of all, have you been to viewing centers when they are playing football?
Yes.
On television. And then you see the amount of young people discussing football.
Okay.
If they could sit down and enjoy it by watching it on television, what do you think will happen if you promote the real thing? We love sports in this country. Even the old people at home, they love it. But there's a principle. Anything that gets rewarded gets done. For you to make people to do things, you have to promote something. You have to promote it. If Europe, England, could promote the Barclays Premiership and push it to the world, do you know how much they spend promoting that league? Billions of euros go into that. And so they were able to promote it. There are Nigerians who will go and buy a shirt and say, I'll be a Man U fan. There are Nigerians who will not marry you if you are not in the same club with them. There are Nigerian parents who are divided among which club they support. The same Nigerians. You get the point. That's because we have not put a lot of money in sports in this country to galvanize people to love it. Are you getting the point? That's principle one. Unless we need to put nothing less than 50 billion into sports, not just one sport, all sports. The government needs to be serious about it. Put money in sports. Anything you put money. Let me just do a simple template. If you say, let's play a competition, inter-school competition in Edo State, and you say the first prize is £1 billion. Don't tell the students to get ready. Don't tell the schools to ready 11 players. Just put 1 billion. The sport will organize itself. There will be politics. You will see schools be submitting footballers naturally. And because you are putting money on it, the Coca-Cola will come and sponsor. The Pepsi-Cola will come and sponsor. Glo will want to sponsor. These companies will want to sponsor it. Anytime you put money in something and you drive it towards a direction, society wakes up to it. But here we put sports as one of those things, relaxation thing. In developed countries, it's not a relaxation thing. It's a business. It's a business. In fact, there are courses abroad, sports administration, BSc in sports administration. I mean, there are schools, academies, worth billions of dollars run just to grow people from sports. So if you put money in anything, energy comes. That's number one. Number two, it's also true that as a country gets richer and richer, they begin to value more leisure than work. So our poverty is also a major factor. A person earns 30,000 naira a month. I need to go and watch a match and pay 2,000 naira to watch the match.
I think the price for a ticket in UK is even more than, I think, about 6,000 to 7,000.
Yes, you have to eat very well. You have to, you know, because when people are poor at a certain basic level, they want to, all they live for is food. But as people get, as society gets richer and richer, people begin to value leisure, you know, at higher levels of income. Okay, so what happens is this: as long as our economy is depressed, people are struggling to live, then sport will always be one of those things. But if we develop our economy and we put a lot of money, allow people to get decent jobs and things like that, they want to relax. There's nobody who works. Ask a banker, for instance, who works morning till 7 o'clock in the evening. If he has a place to vent out, to relax, he will go and do that. Okay, but that is not true for most of Nigerians. Like I said, 93 million Nigerians are poor by world standards. They can't even afford basic existence. How do they now fund a sports industry where requires you to spend a lot of money? How many Nigerians can be buying T-shirts every week to support their clubs?
We have people that actually do that.
They do that, but we are looking at the volume. Because
exactly.
One thing, before you go into business, you must look at the sustainability of the industry. If I put 10 billion into sports, I should expect that the industry should be able to soak it up and return it to me. Okay? So what we want to know now is who should start the process? Should government put the money and allow the society to wake up? Or should we allow private individuals
Even
to...
if the government wants to put the money, waiting for the society to wake up, I think the time frame when they want the society to wake up will be the problem.
Okay.
They will want instant response, which is almost impossible. This is a sector in the society that is already degrading, is going down the more.
Okay.
Like if you look at, the Nigerian Premier League, they are doing very well now. It boiled out of the fact that they had to watch out for other countries, watch out for other African countries. You see the likes of South Africa, you see the likes of Ghana, you see Gabon, you see countries that are grooming their leagues to be of world standard. And you see Nigeria, they're a little bit relaxed.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you see them, they want to put in energy. Like recently, they just concluded Nuga games in Unilag. These are games that they change the format. They try to put in more resources and more effort into it and see how it's going to come out different. But at the end of the day, after doing that for a short period of time, they leave it alone again. Yeah. So imagine something going up and still coming down again. Yeah. They will now need to rise it again. And with time, people lose interest. Yeah. You see people involved in all these things, they're like, they are not sponsoring this thing. They are not. If you look at the way they sponsor football in England, in Europe generally, you'll be surprised.
Very organized.
You'll be surprised. Billions of dollars, billions of euros are going into sponsoring, not even managing the team, just sponsoring. Billions are going into it. This is the people that believe that, over time, something positive is going to come out of this. It's a very long project. And I believe if Nigeria embark on it, they're actually going to reap the dividends at the end of the day because it's a very long project. But if it's sustained, right now in England, you can't see any football match that you have less than 20,000 people coming around to watch that game. Imagine if it's in Nigeria now, 20,000 people every weekend. Nigeria. And some of them, they even play within the week. Sometimes you have matches on Thursdays, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Imagine all of them are paying 1,000 naira to watch the match in Nigeria. It's going to boost the economy to some certain extent. Yes. So that's the struggle that Nigeria is having right now. The sport is there. The passion is there. People love the sport. But like you said, the standard of living actually affects how people participate or even like the sport. Like a mother will tell his child that if you go and play football, if you break your leg, where I want to see money treats you. But if the country is okay and the health system is very perfect, you won't be scared. You know that if anything happens to this child, if you take him to the hospital, explain that there are systems that they can create to make all these things work properly.
Okay. So in a nutshell, our system should work for these things to take its place.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And before we go on a short break, I want to ask now, in Nigeria, which sports dominates? Okay, so we'll talk about sports. The next thing we'll hear, football. So we want to know, in Nigeria, in Africa, which of the sports dominates?
Well, in Nigeria particularly, it's football.
Football.
Because there's enough space for people to participate, not just be a spectator. There's enough space for people to participate. Imagine a league with 20 different teams, and each team is supposed to have about 30 players. You see, there's a lot of participation in it. You get, and somehow it's very easy to learn. You can't walk on a street in less than, you can't take a 5-minute walk within a street and you won't see a football field. You get, so it's very easy to participate. So that is why most people love football. And with the advent of social media, the TV and everything, it's very easy for us to even see football from other countries and actually participate or like them also.
Okay, now Destiny.
Yeah, of course, there's a connection between the geography of a country and the kind of sports they enjoy.
Exactly.
Okay, there's a connection. So, for example, in the US, it's not football, it's basketball. Okay, because Americans love sports that involve the hands a lot, more than the legs. So it's a cultural part. That part is cultural. In Australia, they prefer swimming and sports that have to do with using the body, without using your legs and your hands a lot, because they are close to the water. And so depend on that. But in Nigeria, I think football is important. We got into football because it was invented in England, and our colonial masters are England. So we inherited the fever of football from England. If we were colonized by some other countries who do not value football a lot, we may not have valued it too. Like he said, exposure to the sport also is one of the factors. It's easy to play. It requires a lot of people. You don't need specialized rules to play football. Although internationally you are going to need 11 players, but you can use 4 people to play. You know, but there are certain sports that are regimented. Their rules are very serious, and they require some complex rules which we are not very familiar with.
That's why people don't really like basketball.
Basketball, for instance, they don't understand the rules around the game. So, like I said, everything has to do with promotion and awareness. You may even discover that if the Basketball Association, for instance, decide to promote basketball and sell it, and because if there's a problem accepting a game, all you need to do is to teach people about the game. I think more people will naturally want to play basketball, especially those people that are tall, if they knew what it was all about. Most people never have to play a certain game because it's not very common in their society and they may not understand the game. For example, boxing is a popular game around the world, but some other countries do not value boxing a lot. And most people like to fight in this part of the world. They like boxing. But then, is it developed?
That's why you see most most boxers, they have to like leave
this
the country to like go to other countries to like
to go develop
their skills and other things.
Okay, now we still know of volleyball. I remember when I was in school, in secondary school, I was part of the volleyball team.
Okay.
But all of a sudden, I actually did not see a way forward. Just felt like it died in secondary school. Then while I was serving, okay, there was a team made out for the volleyball players and all of that. So I don't know, is it because we don't have enough investors in the various sectors of the sporting activities, and we just have investors in football? Is that the reason why we're seeing a decline in all these various other sporting
But that's
sectors?
why we have a sports ministry. The purpose of the sports ministry is to develop sports in the country. And then, like I said, there are many types of sports. So we must find a way to integrate all the sports in our schools and others. You see, we focus too much on football because that's the one we see on television. There are many, many sports. So, like we said, they must have a national policy on sports. Like I said, it depends on the way we look at it. Most people in this part of the world still see sports as recreation for relaxation purposes. We have not seen the potential of it to ensure security and wealth. We have not seen that. If we see that, then government will see it as a major policy to develop. How do you deal with 65 million young people who are looking for jobs? One big way is to develop sports and engage them. So to me, it is a matter of national security. For us, yes, to me, it's a matter of national security. 68 or 70% of the crimes we see being committed are committed by people between the ages of 20 and 45. So since we know that, how do we catch these people, catch them young, and take these energies away from crime into something productive? That means a serious government, any serious government, must put money into sports, make it a serious policy to develop it. Swimming, badminton, volleyball, all of them. And that requires you to put a lot of money and a lot of staff into doing that. And like I said, I don't know, we like doing elaborate things. Things are very simple. All you need to do is to create a simple sports team. No, sports group in a school. Every school should have a sport committee. And the purpose of the sport committee in these schools is to develop 2 or 3 sports. So for example, maybe in Niger College as a school, you can say, okay, because they are girls, let's see if we can develop swimming. And then you start it small. Like sports is a long-term business. It's something you need to plant, watch it grow and mature.
No, Nigeria, we're not calm enough to
Yes, but you have to be persistent.
Exactly.
You start it. If you introduce young people who just entered secondary school to basketball, and then you integrate it into their learning. I'll give you an example. I used to be a fan of, there's a singer called R. Kelly. In the secondary school, he was a basketballer. And then one time, he started failing his studies. in his studies. Then the teacher now told him, his personal teacher said, come, if you fail next time, I'll withdraw you from the basketball team.
Yes, I think they did that.
You know, he was forced to read.
Yeah,
because
there's something,
because of the law
there's
we
something,
have
there's something to fight for. They said, come, you are not going to play basketball again. You didn't come here for only basketball. Your studies are failing. He had to read to meet up.
measure up.
Now, later in life, he didn't end up as a basketballer. He ended up as a singer.
Musician.
In other words, sometimes in allowing games to operate in schools and integrating it into learning, that means we should have a policy. Every student in a school must belong to one particular sport.
I think that's the next part. That's the next point that Nigeria needs to focus on. Because if parents start saying it as part of this course,
As
curriculum.
Yes.
Not that you are ticking it, you are saying like over 100, the child score at least 80, 50. Like you are trying in sports. It's something that even the parent can even ask, okay, which sport? Is it football? Is it basketball? Is it swimming? Okay, let's try to develop it for this child.
Yes.
That is something that is very important in part of curriculum in all these foreign countries. They make sure that it's part of it. If you don't pass your study and you're not doing well in sport, they would ask you, what's the problem? You don't like this particular sport. Do you want to switch? Even if it's not sports. Sometimes it might be music, it might be other things. They will just make sure it is part of the system and you must pass it all through your period in school. It must be a process that you must go through. You can't just be a student, read book and go home, no extracurricular activity. You must just participate in those activities.
And many scholarships abroad are connected to sports.
Exactly.
If you do well in the sport, there are bodies to fund you to the university level. I mean, that's how serious they take it. So there may be a student who is not very academic, not very sound intellectually, but as a sports person. So there are so many ways to self-actualize. Most people self-actualize academically. Some actualize in sports, some actualize in music. One thing is it must be a deliberate policy to integrate these activities into our learning so that we don't just we only like grading academics. Academics is not the only part of life. Life is very diverse.
Like in the US, that's what they do. They have a body or system for their high school basketball, NCCA. Then after moving out of there, the best ones, they carry them into another league, the G League. Then from the G League, they'll now draft all of them into the NBA.
You can imagine.
So there's a process, and they do that every year. There's NBA draft every year. So year in, year out, they are moving people into the NBA. And players are retiring. Players are moving from one club. Some of them, if you listen to their story, they were on the streets doing this, doing that. But they had to like, okay, go to school. You are good with basketball. Once you do this, you'll be able to move into the NBA. So I think sports is a very, very integral part of the society.
Okay, now Nelson Mandela said, and I quote, it says, sports has the power to change the world, it has the power to inspire, it has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. Now it speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sports can create hope where once there is only despair. And this is coming from Nelson Mandela.
Coming from a politician who is not renowned as a sportsman, that should tell you how important it is. I'll tell you, in Mexico 86, the World Cup, England had a problem with Argentina off the pitch. England was decimating Argentina in war, but they settled the fight in the pitch. Diego Maradona came to light. The hand of God goal was popular because beyond the football match, there was a fight between England and Argentina. Maradona was made a national hero because he gave people hope in a period of despair. How can Argentina fight England in real life? But in sports, he won. And when he won, he brought the country together. Like I said, if you notice, that day before that our last match, there was a bomb blast in Kaduna, okay, around that period. But people still went to watch the match. I mean, it's not as if the bomb blast is not painful. But in a place where a lot of people are depressed, that match was one thing we were holding on to. And then that's why, you see, that thing you see in the pitch that day, it's not only just because of that match, it's because of the general atmosphere. And then people give up their time, all the stress we hear of, and then you go and watch a match, and then we lose it. The only thing that makes us happy in this country, we lose it, and then all of them lost it. So like I said, to me, it's a matter of national security. I mean, if you watch boxing, there's a player called Mike Tyson, for instance. I mean, one of the greatest boxers in the world is Mike Tyson. He went to prison over 15 times before he turned 15. Okay?
Yes.
But what saved his life? Sports.
Sports.
Okay? What saved his life? Sports. I mean, a young man, he was a trouble kid, moving from one foster home to the other because he didn't know how to deal with his aggression. But now that he was brought into boxing, guess what? He became a superstar. And today he's a calmer adult, rich, and enjoying his life. Okay. So
most of them used to have that struggle at childhood.
Yes.
Sports will actually show them the reason why they should keep on going.
Yes.
Reason why they should have a change of heart. I know a lot of sports stars right now that once you hear their story, you will be surprised, like, oh, you still keyed into sports. Some of them, they were on the streets trying to like make ends meet. We have the likes of Victor Osimhen. We have the likes of even young footballers in England. If you hear their story, you'll be surprised. But sports brought them out. Sport brought them out of that problem, and not really a problem, out of a situation, and put them in a space whereby they can connect to people, tell people their story, make people understand. The likes of Gabriel Jesus, there was a World Cup, but he was on the street trying to like make people understand that the World Cup is going on. The next World Cup, he was participating there. He was happy. You get, so the joy that sport gives is you can't even measure it.
Okay, now if you just joined us, we are talking about International Day of Sports Development and Peace. Yes, we have our guest in the studio, the person of Destiny Owobo and Solomon Aino. Now, quickly now, Solomon, I need you to, get us the fixture as far as Qatar 2022 is concerned, because I know some persons already are talking about the fixtures, the groupings. Now, you find some countries that needs to play together. When you hear of these two countries, you know that in the past they had issues.
Exactly.
They had been at loggerhead with each other and all of that. So Solomon, please help us with the fixtures.
Well, quickly, the Group A, we have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal and the Netherlands. While Group B, we have a very funny one. USA, United States of America, is in the same group with Iran and England. Now, you still have Group C with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Then the Group D, we have France, Denmark, and Tunisia. Then Group H, Portugal, Ghana. If Nigeria had qualified, they might have been in that particular group. Uruguay and Republic of Korea. Then Group G, we have Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Then we have Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. Then the last one, that is Group E, we have Spain, Germany, and Japan.
Now,
one way or the other, if you look at the pairings, if it's on political ground, they wouldn't be in the same group.
I tell you.
They wouldn't be in the same room.
So this brings to bear that it's certainly a day that we need to, remember.
Exactly.
Today, the 6th day of April 2022, that the United Nations has actually, taught well to come about the aspect of sports, bringing peace. So when you're seeing in countries like Iran,
and the US.
And the US.
In the same group.
In the same group.
They'll all line up together.
And you see everyone standing or sitting, watching, and you're wondering, is this Iran?
The good part with the World Cup is everybody needs to listen to the national anthem of the other team.
So you were saying?
No matter how it sounds, you must just listen. You must just be there. So the good thing is sport brings people together. Even I think in lawn tennis recently they had a match between a Ukrainian and a Russian. They actually played together, and there was no rift, there was no argument. It was just out of the love of the game. They just have to participate in this game. At the end of the day, they will still have this handshake, they will still have these hugs, they will still they might even have that moment to talk to each other that, see, what's going on back home is not affecting us here. We are still friends, we are cool. You see, even in football teams, you see people from different nationality come together, live in peace, stay together, play for this. Most of the time, if you see them happy, you now be wondering, like, are they related somehow? But no, you see people with black skin, people with white, and they are all happy. So the joy that sport brings is just wonderful.
Okay, now quickly, Destiny, looking at the fixtures, the groupings.
Like you said, I'm particularly more interested in the US, Iran.
And Iran.
Because
so we will look forward to it.
With England from the other side.
And it justifies the theme of this year's World Sports and Security Day. Because ideally, you can't have the US and Iran in the same room like that. But why I like this one is that this is the US and Iran, and they are playing football in a foreign territory, in Qatar.
Yes.
So, and their fans will come.
Yeah.
And for the first time, they are not coming to discuss the atomic bomb,
Yeah.
but they are coming to discuss football.
Sports.
You know, I think it's a beautiful thing for the world if we develop sports.
Okay, now to wrap it up, now looking at sports in general, can we say sport has brought economic balance to our society?
I think we have not even scratched 5% of the capabilities of sports.
Okay.
Personally, I think that the government is not paying enough attention to the potential of sports. All you need to do is just to watch what is happening in the world of sports, and then you see that we have a lot to achieve if we put money, time, and resources into sports. We are going to employ a lot of people and generate a lot of happiness from that game.
Well, I feel Nigerians or Africans were here to harness the potentials in sports, the economic side. We are here to like tap into it fully. And if we can do that, the energy that Africans have that they use in foreign countries to do sports, if they can bring it back home, put in that same energy, that love, that passion, I think economic-wise, Africa will feel it. Nigeria especially, if you go to different countries, you see Nigerian athletes participating in sporting activity for another country.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we claim them, we say, these are fellow Nigerians, but outrightly, they are not flying the flag of Nigeria, you understand? So if we can make them believe that if you come back home, you have a better atmosphere and environment to do sport. Like for instance, in Austria, we have a player named Alaba. And it's playing for Austria.
So you can just know Alaba.
You can't.
You know?
They know they are Nigerian. In basketball, we have Antetokounmpo, and they know they are Nigerians, but they can't do their own sport in Nigeria for now. But if the government make it a very lucrative aspect of the society, something that people can tap into it without stress. Because the stress of even getting into sporting activity nowadays, you'll be discouraged. Okay, for instance, now we're talking about, okay, maybe the state decides to like start a football competition. You get the stress to like qualify or the stress to like put your name into papers and say, okay, I want to participate in this thing. Some of the schools like, oh, the stress is too much, I can't do it again, let me just let it be. You understand? So if they can make people accessible, like people access all these sporting activities easily, you bring it to them, you advertise it to the companies are in Nigeria, companies are in Africa that will really tap into this. You look at the South African football, their league, you see big companies sponsoring their football. It can happen in Nigeria also. We need big companies to sponsor it, but you need to show them what they are sponsoring. It must be good enough for them to sponsor.
Of course.
Okay, now quickly, Destiny, your last
let's use the opportunity to invest in sports and provide security and sustainable income for all. I personally believe that the biggest problems we have in this country are connected to poverty and insecurity at the moment. And the fact that they chose this theme for this day shows that the government can put money on it and see how we can use sports as a weapon to solve our security and poverty challenges.
All right, thank you so much for being part of Flip Side today with your sincerely Oluije Oyikoha. It has been International Day of Sports Development and Peace. We'll be seeing again next week for another exciting time. Do have yourself a blessed day. Bye for now.